Oh my God, Peach McIntyre just shared an old memory video on this day 2 years ago, June the 5th, 2023. That was the day I first started following her because she came up on my For Me page and she was crying on this video and she had a newborn baby in the NICU, her son before the two twins that was born and he was like a preemie and she was going to the hospital every day. He was in a NICU and I was like, look at this lady's strength. Look at her motivation. Like she was getting up every day, taking care of the other kids at the house, going up to the NICU, checking on her child. That lady just was going through it back then. Like that's when I really admire her. Like, and then she was teaching content class at the same time. That was around the time I bought one of her social media bundles, how to be a content creator, and I started looking back at all her past videos. I was like, damn, this lady right here would not sit down. And at the time, I feel like she willed a lot of us in just seeing her motivation, her drive, and just not having that support from her husband, Wood, at the time. We all felt empathy for Peach McIntyre. And I'm just so glad to see her and Wood 2 years later, two babies later with the twins, trying to figure this shit out. Because as we noticed, Peach ain't leaving no damn Wood. Okay? She do all that on social media back then just for them to still be here 2 years ago. And that's how a lot of us got drawn into her. But that's okay. Marriages go through their up and down. That lady got 9 children by that man. I don't blame her for trying to make that shit work. That's a village within itself. To be trying to be a single mom, I couldn't barely do it with one child, let alone 9. So I'm not even knocking her for letting it to try to make this marriage work. I'm just glad that she just always posts about Wood being sober, no longer alcoholic. She been trying to get more control of her gambling condition, addiction, and trying to do better. And then, yeah, I'm just glad they figured it out. Like at first she wanted Wood to work and wanted him to be about his bag. And I feel like she just got to a point she had to accept Will for who he is. And that's what you gotta do when you dealing with certain men. Like, you can't make nobody be as motivated as you can't make nobody be an entrepreneur. And I think she just got to a point where she just got tired of sharing her shit on social media, tired of being upset with Wood for not wanting to work, not wanting to get back into his bag and his car wash and his cleaning business. And he just a stay-home dad, and that shit worked for them. She always brag how he cook and clean for the children and how he take care of the children at the crib. And she go out and get the bag, man. And he do a lot of work around the house, cooking and cleaning. So they figured that shit out. You know what I'm talking about? Like, they really been figuring that shit out. And just shout out to them for making that shit work. Because this video right here touched a lot of our heart that she just shared on her social media when she was going to go pound all that jury. And yes, it just touched us. So I'm just glad to see that whole family in a better space. And that's what it's all about, doing better. Like, nobody judge you where you started from. It's all about how you end this shit. Like, he living in a toxic relationship and unhealthy relationships is not where it's at. And then having that shit around your children is not where it's at. That's why I was really hoping y'all girl Kane and Chris get their shit together. Because you just can't keep living like that in front of them children. And then you putting this shit on social media. Like, these kids not going to grow up and see this shit on social media one day. All these kids got phones, and it's like they want to see this shit on social media, try to be putting on there for this check. So I'm just really glad they got some peace in that house. It seemed like she much happier in her house than in her husband. She happier with him. It just seemed like they got peace in that house, and I'm just happy for them. And I hope they keep working through that shit. And one thing I have to learn with that whole situation is you can't change nobody. And I think that's what Peach McIntyre had to learn to realize. You can't make nobody do some shit they don't want to do. And I feel like she had learned to accept her husband, good and bad and flaws and all. And that's what you have to do. Over 30, you can't make nobody be who you don't want them to be. She might want the man to work. I think she's got to the point where she had to accept that he was going to be a stay-home father. And she was going to be the breadwinner. That is what she had to accept to make that shit work. And you gotta do what you gotta do in your relationship. Whatever you feel you can compromise on, compromise on. But don't never feel like you gotta sell your soul. If it's just some shit you can't compromise on, don't never lower yourself to be with somebody. But if it's something you feel like you can live with every day with, they good and bad, then make that shit work. If that's the person you want to be with, make that shit work. And it's always free game, y'all.